awesome. I don't have to be a mathematician anymore. We don't have to be mathematicians anymore. Hey, I bet when they sign this guy, they're going to do this, and then he's going to get waived, and then this. No, the season starts on Wednesday, and they made all their cuts, and we just know who's going to be on the Leafs. Because there is actual news items to talk about. They have done a bunch of stuff, and you're going to want to pay attention. Unlike in previous years where the Toronto Maple Leafs have had, well, you need a roster of 18 skaters and 2 goalies, so that's 20. But you can carry up to 3 spares. And in recent years, they've been like, oh, no, we can't afford to do that. And good young players who deserve to make the team were getting sent down. And the roster was basically predetermined months ahead of time. This year, lots of guys are going to make the Leafs. Lots of guys are going to get a shot, and we finally have an idea of what the opening night lineup is going to be. So what happened? Max Pacioretty signs a 1-year deal with the Leafs. Steven Lorentz signs a 1-year deal with the Leafs. Cade Webber signs a 2-year contract extension that kicks in next year with the Leafs. Marshall Rafai clears waivers, which means he gets to stay with the Leafs. And like Cade Webber, he has a 2-year contract extension that does not kick in until next year, and I think that was part of helping him clear waivers. Speaking of guys who cleared waivers, Matt Murray, there's number 5. He clears waivers in part due to his $100,000 signing bonus, so that means he gets to stay with the Leafs. If he's called up, he's going to go down to the Marlies, assuming everyone is healthy. And they should be, because Joseph Woll played the final preseason game, and he played the whole 60 minutes, and he looked good. Easton Cowan, he was just sent back to junior by the Leafs. I like Easton Cowan. I really like Easton Cowan. You know that because of the prospect pyramid. I put him all the way up in tier 2. That might have been a touch high, but I don't care. I think he's going to be really, really good, but there's no real reason that he has to make the team this year. I think he was putting a lot of pressure on himself. The body language was off, and he shouldn't feel bad about himself. The dude killed it in junior last year, but it's basically impossible to overseason a prospect in junior. Go back there, kick a lot of butt, and then show up at the World Juniors, kick a lot of butt, and then go back to the OHL. And it feels very unnatural to say butt. I should say the other one, but I'm not gonna. You know what I mean? He's gonna be fine. Stevie said Max Pacioretty and Steven Lorentz and Cade Webber all signed contracts. How much are they worth? Oh, I forgot to tell you that part. Cade Webber, 2 years, $825,000 per year. We don't need to worry about that until down the line. He's not even on the team yet. He's gonna go to the Marlies and he's gonna develop. Steven Lorentz, $775,000 against the cap. That one's easy. It's league minimum. Here's the weird one. Max Pacioretty, $873,770. Why would they sign him to such a weird cap hit? Listen, I bring this guy up on my YouTube channel all the time. His name is Kyle Cushman. If you don't follow him, you're a silly goose. Here's what Kyle Cushman says. The Leafs are cap compliant by $1 with these moves after signing Pacioretty and Lorentz. They got to send down Easton Cowan. They did that. SOIR Minton, so they're going to season opening injury reserve Fraser Minton. That saves them $76,562 against the cap, or rather it puts it up against the cap. They're going to put Connor Dewar on IR, and they're going to LTIR Calle Jarnkrok, which means he has to miss a minimum of 10 games. That's not great. Yanni Hakanpää, we knew that, and Dakota Mermis. Now you might be like, oh, Dakota Mermis, who cares? There's a solid chance he would have made this team. I mean, Philippe Myers and Connor Timmins both made the team. There's a solid chance Mermis, who played about half the season, more than half the season with Minnesota last year, could have made this team as an extra guy, but he got injured in preseason. Kyle also says, and for those looking for the Puckpedia breakdown, and then he links to that, go to Puckpedia. They got all the details. Now, there's some minor things there, and we broke them down on the Steve Dangle podcast today. There's a diabolical amount of content coming this week. I'll talk about it at the end. It sounds like Max Pacioretty will have 2 performance bonuses, one for a little over $300,000 against the cap at 10 games played, and another for about the same amount of money, a little over $300,000 at about, I think it's 35 games played. If Pacioretty hits 10 games and then 35 games, those performance bonuses will count against next year's salary cap and put the Leafs into overage for next year. That's not great, but it's also not a disaster. The cap will be going up, barring another global event, and in that case, you just can't help that. Teams do this all the time. The Bruins went millions into overage, and they've been the Bruins. So we know at minimum that you are able to go into bonus overage over the salary cap and make a team that is at least good enough to beat the Leafs, which means I think it should work for the Leafs. Now, Steve, I don't care. What does it all come down to when it comes to the opening night roster? I'm glad you asked. Some weird ones. I'll put Mark Masters right next to me. Here are the Leafs lines in practice, and this is from earlier today. Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner. No surprises there. Max Domi on the left, John Tavares in the middle, William Nylander on the right. I think that line could be really good. I like Max Domi with two guys who can really score. So what happened to the whole Willie at center thing? Were you teasing? Okay. I've made a decision there. Listen, yelly screaming man. Sometimes though, not all the time. If you watch sometimes, then you'll think that's all I do. But if you watch all the time, I pick my spots decently, I think. Sometimes. I'm not gonna freak out about that one yet. Not yet. I reserve the right to do it later. But if they start the season well, Willie's performing well, Tavares and Domi, the line's clicking. I think it'll be okay. Line 3, and this is where things start to get really wacky. Max Pacioretty on the left, Pontus Holmberg in the middle, with Nick Robertson on the right. It's funny, a lot has been made about Pacioretty and Robertson, and well, if you have Robertson and he's doing so well, then why do you even need Pacioretty? But we weren't paying enough attention to the fact that they were actually playing together in the preseason and scoring together. I don't know if Holmberg can be your third line center full time. I don't know. But if he does well, if this line does well, if they continue to build on what we saw in the preseason, it should do all right. And Robertson on the right wing, I mean, geez, like from the moment he was put on the right at the beginning of training camp, I was like, why did we talk about him at left wing all summer? During the preseason, he scored goals from the left, he scored goals from the right. He can score from anywhere. He's a goal scorer. And as for Max Pacioretty, I mean, I don't know what to expect. He had some really good moments this preseason. He had some really not good moments this preseason, mostly giveaways and penalties and everything. But again, he can score. What are you talking about? Last year, he didn't score. He didn't score goals. That is true. He had 4. But he had a bunch of assists, and I'm willing to bet he's not going to get 4 goals again. And if he does, I don't think he's going to make it to 35 games, and I'll explain why in a minute. Steven Lorentz, David Kampf, and Ryan Reeves rounds out your roster. That is the 4th line. That's just a 4th line. That's an NHL 4th line. Steven Lorentz, good player. We all saw that. Stanley Cup champion. David Kampf, we thought he was going to get traded or something. Looks like they're going to keep him. We really underrated how good the penalty kill was this preseason, and David Kampf was a big part of that. I don't think you punish him with a trade. And then there's Ryan Reeves, who, he stinks and whatever. Well, he looked good in the preseason. And he's a 4th liner, which I think is important. For the next part of the conversation, that leaves Connor Dewar out of the lineup, and we know that because he's not good to go. He's injured, and it sounds like he's going to be injured for the next month and a half. The other guy on the outside looking in, Bobby McMann. The first response that I saw is Bobby McMann should be playing 82 games this season. I agree. Bobby McMann, I think, is a really good player. He scored last season. He probably scored at an unrealistic clip, but I think he's a talented enough player, a fast enough player, a belligerent enough player, and a defensively responsible enough player. That is something that really evolved in his game before he got injured last season, to be in the lineup every night. Now, he didn't have a good preseason. Let's call it what it is. It wasn't very good. Again, this is the sort of thing that I'm not going to freak out for night 1. I'm not. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play a lot. I think he's going to be an important part of this team. He just won't be in the opening night lineup. Defense is a mess. Morgan Rielly, Chris Tanev. No surprises there. Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the left, Jake McCabe on the right. Now, Jake McCabe has been day-to-day with an injury. Looks like he's going to be good to go for opening night. And that has consequences deeper on D. Third pair, Simon Benoit. I feel like he switched to Benoit is on the left, and Connor Timmins on the right. I owe Connor Timmins an apology. All summer long, I looked at the cap situation and his $1.1 million cap hit, and I said, ain't no way. There is no way this guy is going to make the Leafs. It's not even about him being a bad player. It's about him not being one of their 6 best defensemen, and he makes too much money. Turns out there's another right-handed shot on the team who makes even more, like way more. And Timmins, like, he was good this preseason. There was another player who was good this preseason, and he looks like he's made the team too. Because the final three are Philippe Myers, Timothy Liljegren and his $3 million cap hit, and Yanni Hakanpää. Now, Hakanpää, we know, big hulking defenseman, whatever, signed. He's injured. He's injured, and we're not going to see him for months. Okay? So he doesn't really factor into all this. Philippe Myers had a really good preseason. Huge right-handed shot. Simple plays. Liljegren at $3 million. Dude. At $1.4 million against the cap last year. Even that, I was like, okay, that's reasonable. Hopefully he earns a bigger deal. He didn't last year. And then he got one anyway. Like, this is one of the most frustrating players of the Matthews era. 17th overall pick, first round pick. I've seen some revisionist history about, that was a terrible pick. He was supposed to go top 5. And when he went to 17, the majority of anyone paying attention hit the roof with how happy they were that he went. The fact that he fell to the Leafs at 17 was a miracle at the time. Yeah, some injuries and stuff like that, but he still hasn't found a concrete spot in the lineup. And honestly, at this point, it feels like he made the team to make the cap situation work. I will say this, I do think the Leafs, unless they trade him, are going to give Liljegren a chance to earn his spot in the lineup back. I think Timmins is going to get games. I think Myers should get games. Liljegren, if you're not going to trade him immediately, is on your team, you should give him the opportunity. It could be like McMahon, right? He's going to play his way back into the lineup when you give him an opportunity. The difference is Bobby McMahon makes $1.35 million and Liljegren makes more than twice that, which is wild. And then, of course, in net, Joseph Woll and Anthony Stolarz. I think the Leafs will be just fine as long as one of them is not the worst goalie in the league for 3 months like last year. Now, before I ask you what you think about all this, I'm going to say this. Don't mention April. Don't. You're not allowed. But what if they what? What if they what? A lineup that you're comfortable going into the playoffs with is not necessarily a lineup you're comfortable going into the regular season with. Would I be comfortable with the Leafs going into game 1 of the playoffs with this? No! What? Dude, I don't even know if the middle 2 lines work. The bottom pair is Benoit Timmins. Ooh, I'm dying. But it's October. It's the beginning of the season. And the season is 82 games. That's so many games! This is far from the worst roster in the league. Far, far, far from it. They should be good. Should be good. You play games in October, and then you tinker. And then you keep going, and you tinker, and then you keep going, and that's what the trade deadline is for! Like 50 some odd games into the season. Play all that way, and you see where you are, and you go, oh, we should add to this. Ideally. Personally, to me, what this roster is something that it hasn't been for years and years. This is a roster where the coach actually has power. And it's not just moving you up and down in the lineup, which is essentially all Sheldon Keefe could do. And he couldn't really do it because he also had to win games. So what's different about this is if you're not good one night, Berube can just take you out. He can take you out, especially on D. Like, he has an entire reserve pairing with this roster right now. Bobby McMahon is the only spare forward. That can be changed. You can send down a D, call up a forward. There is going to be opportunity to make this team. There's also going to be opportunity to sit in the press box if you stink. The stakes are higher. And I think with a new, hopefully no-nonsense coach, that's a really good thing. So, it looks like that's how we're heading into Wednesday night. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comment box down below. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Here is the diabolical amount of content we have coming this week. This video, number 1. New Steve Dangle podcast uploaded Monday, right around the time that this comes out. We're going to be recording another one on Tuesday. We're also going to be recording a VIP on Tuesday. I believe that comes out Friday. We're going to be doing a live show from Greta. That is the book launch for my book, which is right there. Yeah, there it is. I put it on the wall. Thursday, I'm going to stay home and die, I think. Oh, no, we're doing the LFR live from Greta, and then I'm doing a ton of interviews from home on Thursday. And then Friday, we're also doing a podcast. And, my first stream of the season is going to be Saturday night. I probably forgot stuff. I definitely forgot stuff. There's so much stuff. And that's not including Agent Provocateur and the CJ Show and everything. SDPN has you covered to start this NHL season. My book, pre-order it. Please do. Comes out officially October 15th, unless you get a ticket to Greta, because you'll be able to get the book early. For now, I already did that part. Okay, goodbye.